Recently, I got into gambling. By gambling, I mean these guys. One day, I decided to do something that no one has ever done before. I looked through my bulk, and I realized I don't know any of these guys. Like, that guy's a fucking apple. Looking through these cards made me think, maybe I should play one of the games. And that is where I discovered competitive Pokemon. So I bet you're wondering, what is competitive Pokemon? Let's get a quick Google search. Competitive Pokemon refers to battling other players using teams of Pokemon specifically trained and customized for player versus player matches. These matches are separated. I don't really care. But what Google AI Overview basically says is catch Pokemon and you fight Pokemon. Step 1, learn what the fuck is going on in Pokemon. The last time I played any of these games I was 6, so I couldn't read. So I didn't really know how any types or anything work. So the first thing that came to mind was maybe I should make some of these flashcards so I can try to learn how type relations work. I threw these flashcards away because I don't study. I don't even study for school, so ain't no way I'm gonna study for a fucking video game. So instead of doing any of the flashcards, I actually just played the game. I didn't record any of it because I'm a fucking idiot, and also it's like 20 hours of gameplay and I wasn't really trying to record all that. At least now we can move on to the competitive portion, which is like on the online side of Pokemon, but we'll worry about that later. Alright, let's move on to step 2 now. Picking out our team. Luckily for me, I don't actually have to make anything on my own. There's websites like this that literally just have all the stat lines and all the moves you need for your Pokemon, so you can just go on them and then take the whole thing. Because if I had to build my own team, it would be fucking ass. Anyways, some of these teams follow like similar strategies. So you have like your speed control or like your damage boost. For your speed control, you have like Trick Room or Tailwind. And then for your damage boost, you'll run like weather, like rain or sun, or maybe some terrain sometimes. So the bigger question now is, what the hell did I just say? Well, let me break this down really easy for you. So Trick Room basically have your Pokemon cast magic, so now your fast Pokemon are slow, and your slow Pokemon are fast. Tailwind, one of your Pokemon blows hella air on red team Pokemon, and now they move way faster. And then you also have your damage boost. One of your Pokemon either makes it rain or makes the sunlight super strong. And for some reason, that makes your water Pokemon do more damage or your fire Pokemon do more damage. Alright, now it's time to actually go get our team. Alright, let me introduce you to Big Hands. So, what are some of his character traits? His first one is, you do big hand damage. This is because he has big hands, and also, he's a hybrid vehicle. That's pretty lit. We also have a trait of being annoying as fuck. That's because of this. Fakeout. And then his last, but definitely not least trait, is he's good in the magic room. This is because he's an extra chonky boy, so that means he moves really slowly. Alright, up next, let me introduce you to No Fake Out. So, what is his main trait? No Fake Out. Because of his big ass tail, he blocks any priority moves, which probably doesn't mean anything to you, but let's just know Fake Out doesn't work on him. His next trait, which is also really important, is he makes the magic room. Yeah, I'm using a Trick Room team. And this guy's one of the best Trick Room setters because he's big mind power and he's really chonky, so he doesn't take a lot of damage. And last but not least, he's a really good pal and he loves giving helping hands. Alright, for our third Pokemon, we got McQueen. Some of his character traits are, he is speed. He is also a hybrid vehicle, so like he is hella fast. He's running a twin turbo V6 engine, you know, the current ones in F1 cars. So, he's a speedy boy. Number 2, he removes bad guys. Because he's a ground type, he's really good against a lot of Pokemon right now, so that's his job. And third, he's a tanky boy. Have you seen this guy? He's like full metal and he eats attacks for breakfast. Alright, now we move for our first restricted Pokemon, which means he's extra strong. We have my Toyota RAV4. So, his first trait is you do big damage. He wears these special glasses that make him really smart, so he tends to just one-shot everyone. And for his second trait, he's a good spot to plug in your hybrid vehicles. Yeah, he's the one who charges the other hybrid cars that I'm running in this team, so that's pretty important. Last but not least, he's good old reliable. He hits a lot of these animals that we're fighting really, really well. So now, for our last restricted Pokemon, we have damage. So, what does damage do? Well, he does the most damage. And that's because he's a small boy with a big horse. And that means he's going to do a lot of damage. What are his other traits? He's good in the magic room. Yeah. He's really slow for some reason because his horse is out of shape. So he's really good in the magic room and he tends to always go first in it. And then his last trait is he's a sweeper. You know, horse mains are really good for making brooms, so he tends to sweep up all the trash that's left over in the battle. And last, and certainly least, I have IDK when to use. Yeah, this guy was just on the fucking team sheet, but I don't even know when he's supposed to be used. If you know, you can tell me, but yeah, this guy never gets touched. The other 5 guys are my go-to guys. Well, now that you know who they are, we just gotta catch them. Bet you're thinking, you have 4 out of the 5 Pokemon you actually care about. This last one should be easy. Well, you're fucking wrong. Cause Calyrex is in a whole other game, which means I had to beat this guy Leon's cheesy ass bitch, which took like another 20 hours for some reason. And then I had to fucking buy the DLC so I can go into this weird ass tundra place and finally catch this ice horse looking ass guy. And finally, I was able to transfer him into Scarlet and Violet using Pokemon Home, where I had to go and buy the Reigns of Unity. I was finally able to combine them and get the last Pokemon I needed for this fucking team. So all in all, between the 2 games and the Pokemon I caught, it was probably like 40 hours at this point. Yeah, I'm kind of slow, but it was my first time playing, so give me a break. So but you're thinking now, Aiden, you must finally be ready to start battling people, right? Right? Well, you'd be wrong, because we move on to step 3. Actually getting these Pokemon ready to battle. Alright, there's 3 things that you gotta think about for your Pokemon. 1, your IVs, your inherent values. This is kind of the stats your Pokemon's born with. It impacts your Pokemon a little bit, not super important. I'm not taking this to competition. I don't give a shit. I'm gonna ignore that completely. 2, you have your EVs, which are your effort values. So this is based off how many Pokemon your Pokemon has beat, and depending on the Pokemon you beat, you get certain stat boosts. And this shit takes forever. And I recorded like every 3rd battle. Like, who the hell designed this shit? Anyways, you gotta do step 3. Just changing the fucking Terra type of our Pokemon. Let me tell you, this shit is arguably even longer. Before I didn't even record it. So in order to change your Terra type, you need 40 Terra crystals or shards or whatever the fuck that thing is called. And you can only get these from doing Terra raids. And guess how many you get per Terra raid? Like 1. Or maybe 2 if you're lucky. But you have to do like 20 raids, and these raids are even longer than fucking just beating regular Pokemon. Like, who the fuck?
I think you can see what I'm seeing. That fucking says rental team. Well, so apparently it turns out that everything I was doing is actually fucking useless, because you can just go and fucking rent a team from that website I was literally looking at earlier. You just take this little code, you type it in, and boom, you get the whole ass team without the 60 hours of work I've been putting into it. Well, at this point, I'm too fucking far in. I just gotta finish it. I don't even give a shit anymore.
Alright, so all we got left now is to add some Terra types and add some moves, and I am finally fucking ready to play some competitive Pokemon. So I start off with a nice Miraidon Iron Treads combo. This works because Miraidon sets up the fucking electric terrain. The Iron Treads gets a stat boost. It's supposed to be speed, but I fucked up the build here, so let's just ignore that. Anyways, Miraidon hits him with a fucking Volt Switch, one-shots him, and then also gets to switch out and keep himself protected. I bring out Farigiraf. Doesn't really matter who I bring out in this case. This guy's pretty fucked. His Iron Tread goes and uses high horsepower and then fucking one-shots him. He's down 2-0. At this point, I'm looking pretty good. Not much I could do to lose this. He brings out his Ledge, and then he brings out also Sylvia, which he terrestrializes to Fairy, which doesn't make any sense. So I have Iron Treads here, who's already a Steel type, and he just fucking one-shots him. Like, what even is the point of that? Well, he's dead. But the Ledge uses some fucking move, I don't know what the hell that is, and he's pretty much screwed. Hit him with Foul Play, does damage, hit him with another move, and he's gone. And that's the first win. We are up. Alright, let's move on to the second battle. Alright. This time I want something different. I went with Calyrex and Farigiraf, which is my Trick Room mode. I start off with Protecting Calyrex, which worked out really well because this fucking idiot decided he wanted to hit both of his Pokemon into my Calyrex, which was protected, so didn't take any damage. Still attacking because this game has long ass animations. But Farigiraf gets a free Trick Room up. So now I'm looking really good. I terrestrialize my Calyrex into fire so that way he's immune to any of their attacks at this point. And I fucking one-shot their Peasant. Except there's an item called a Focus Sash, which lets him survive on 1 health, and then he switches into Aura. Alright, Serendipity uses beat up on my Calyrex, which takes fucking forever. It's like 5 hits. I don't know why they include all this shit. And he terrestrializes his Skeledirge. He terrestrializes it to fire, which I don't know why he did. Anyways, my Calyrex hits both of them with a Glacial Lance, killing the Serendipity and getting some chip damage on the Skeledirge. The Skeledirge hits me with a ground type move, even though he terrestrialized to fire, which is random, and then I one-shot him. Well, Farigiraf uses Psychic on Servine, and then I one-shot the Incineroar. More dead Pokemon, and yeah, we're looking pretty good at this point. So the Screw does end up taking out Calyrex, but at this point, it don't even matter. Like, Miraidon just fucking rains down meters on this guy. Yeah, he's dead. And there we go. We're 2 for 0. Well, that was a culmination of about like 70 hours, and finally, after all this time, I can finally play competitive Pokemon. Huh? Oh yeah, I got bored. I went back to playing my racing games. You're actually still here? That's crazy. If you're this far in, you might as well subscribe and like or something. I skipped a lot of detail on how competitive Pokemon works just because I didn't want to make this video too fucking boring, but it was already boring at some points. Yeah, I think I spent like 2 months working on this, so it was kind of hella work. And I'm going to be going back to school soon, so there's probably not going to be another video, but you know, this is kind of fun. And if you enjoyed, yeah, definitely subscribe or something. Alright, peace out.